Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Joseph Morris live stream. If you're new here, hello there. How are you? I'm Joseph Morris. I'm joined here by my beautiful, stunning, and brave co-host, Miss Gabby. So if you want to hang out and discuss some breaking news and entertainment, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you never miss a live. Do not forget to press like on my video. And if you're watching this live, you can leave your comments right here on your right hand side, or if you're watching this at a later date, please make sure you leave a comment down below. So this just in, Jada Pinkett Smith wishes Will Smith didn't get physical with Chris Rock, but isn't angry with her husband after he slapped the comedian Chris Rock for making a joke about her at the Oscars, a source claimed. So Smith smacked the comedian in the face after he made a joke about his wife's hair loss. Pinkett Smith has been open about her struggle with alopecia, a disease which often causes bald spots. The couple is apparently in agreement that Smith overreacted and are all about their family and their kids, as Whoopi Goldberg, a governor of the Academy Awards, yesterday said she doesn't believe his career will be marred by the slap. Speaking to Us Weekly, an unnamed insider said, quote, "It was in the heat of the moment and it was him overreacting." So let's get into this crazy article. Thank you so much for being here. I also just want to say this. Apparently, Courtney K and Travis Barker just tied the knot at a Vegas chapel and they eloped. I don't know if you guys care about this, but it's breaking news this morning here. And they are got married Vegas style. But I was going to change my entire live stream. I'm not going to do that, but just an FYI. So this is the source that told Us Weekly. Jada Pinkett Smith is not angry with Will Smith after he slapped Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars, but she wishes he didn't get physical with the comedian. The source says, quote, "It was in the heat of the moment and it was him overreacting. He knows that. She knows that. They're in agreement that he overreacted." A source exclusively tells Us Weekly about where the couple stands now. So it is kind of interesting that, you know, their marriage was kind of on the rocks for a little bit, and now it sounds like Jada is actually taking a side and not being on Will's side. So this is kind of very interesting. It was in the heat of the moment and it was him overreacting, blah, 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 blah. It goes on to say, she said, he loves it. Okay. So according to the insider, the A Different World alumni didn't want Smith to get in an altercation to defend her. Quote, "She's not one of these women that needs protecting. He didn't need to do what he did. She didn't need protecting. She's not a wallflower," the source shared. "She's a strong woman, an opinionated woman, and she can fight her own battles, but she will stand by him." So it is kind of interesting that, you know, this source is saying she didn't need any sort of protection. And now she's taking a side and saying that, you know, he overreacted. So, it's kind of interesting because it didn't stop her from laughing, though. I mean, let's just play that clip where she's seen laughing. Thank you so much for being here. So it is sort of strange that she's saying, you know, he overreacted and I didn't need protection, but there she is kind of enjoying it. I think she loved it personally by this laugh. And, you know, it comes as a report claimed bosses at Smith's talent agency, Creative Artists Agency, CAA, were divided over what to do with the Oscar winner following his shocking onstage slap. The incident was said to have thrusted CAA chiefs, which is his agency, Brian Lord, Richard Lovett, and Kevin Huvane, who represent countless A-list stars throughout media and sports, into a quandary. Their bankable star was a pariah despite picking up the industry's biggest award. According to an account of the incident's aftermath in the Daily Beast, which was denied by the agency, a furious debate took place within the agency CAA over whether Smith should be dropped. The discussion even spilled over into a leadership retreat last week at the luxury oceanfront Terra Arena Resort in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, which saw about 100 agents and talent executives gathered at the property, the industry's first large gathering since the pandemic. Also impacting the agency's decision is its prior association with disgraced producer Harvey Weinstein, a negative connection that executives are actively seeking to distance themselves from. So this agency, CAA, is considering dropping Will Smith. And they also had Harvey Weinstein on the roster as well. So Lord reportedly wanted to remove Smith from CAA's roster. Lovett, meanwhile, wanted to keep Smith on board, though he appeared frazzled by the entire episode and subsequent fallout, insiders told the publication. It appears that Lovett came out on top and that Smith will remain with the agency for now. A spokesperson for CAA denied any divisions within the agency's ranks, telling the Daily Beast, quote, "There is no truth to any of it. Simply never happened." But as questions are raised about Smith's future, others don't think his career will be or should be marred by the incident. Speaking on The View yesterday, Whoopi Goldberg said Will be fine. So let's see what Whoopi Goldberg had to say. Thank you so much for being here.
The show didn't have anything like last week's controversy, which is fine. Also, some of Will Smith's future projects are in question. The question is, does he have a path back? Yes, of course he does. He's not, he'll be fine. He'll be back. No one.
So he hasn't been dropped from his agency, but his Netflix specials have been on hold. Goldberg, who is the first African-American to have received Academy Award nominations for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress, added that you have to separate the art from the artist, because if you can't, none of us can be artists. Co-host Anna Navarro also weighed in on the issue, saying, quote, "I'm so tired of talking about it. I like to slap myself." She said Smith's career shouldn't be defined by the incident because he's had over 30 years of a career where he's had a very positive image, been a positive role model. He's been very philanthropic. I don't know how to say that word. He's done all sorts of things. Navarro added, "None of us should be judged by our worst moment. We should be judged by our entire career." In the aftermath of the slap, Goldberg insisted that Smith won't have his Oscar taken away from him after he broke the Academy's code of conduct. She had gone on to defend Will's actions, reasoning, "Sometimes you behave badly." Meanwhile, this MSNBC host said that white people don't get to have an opinion about this entire ordeal. So let's see what the MSNBC host had to say. Thank you so much for being here.
I think people are like, hey, enough talking about it. Let's move on. But, it is in the news. And Will came up with that statement yesterday, and it was worth talking about. I'll try to put this in context for, our white fellow countrymen as best I can. And really, truly, Black America, there is a commonality amongst us all. And if we went to a white person's home and it was their family dinner and we were sitting there at the table and the mother hauled off and slapped the father, and everybody at that table has an opinion. The sister is like, "Mom, you always do this." And the brother is like, "I can't believe you guys are doing this." And dad is like, "You're terrible." If I weigh in as the guest in this home and I say, "Yeah, you guys are terrible," everybody's like, "I'm sorry. When did you get an opinion? This is our family table." That's what this moment felt like for many of us. And there's a nuance to what happened that we should get into. Michael, I personally believe this was a moment that we saw Will Smith behave like a bully. I know a lot of people have strong opinions about this. I thought the slap itself was completely uncalled for. And I want to be really clear while we're talking about family talk. I think it is utterly ridiculous to center this conversation in the opinions of white folks. This is just about what happened there. The jumping off point should not be, oh, but what might the white people think about it? It's just this moment between those two men. I thought it was uncalled for. So I'm curious your thoughts, Michael.
Yeah, so I was really surprised to see that. I mean, I think everybody has an opinion, and rightfully so. I don't know how I feel about that clip. And also in a resurfaced clip of Will Smith on Red Table Talk is making the rounds online, and it sort of speaks to what's going on at home with Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. So let's get into this Resurfaced clip as well.
The day after her 37th birthday, I hired a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday. I had hired a documentary team. I traced mommy's family roots. Her 40th birthday was going to be my thing.
It was going to be a splash.
It was going to be a splash. Mary J. Blige performed. I debuted the film, all of that. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis, and it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love. And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego.
Ooh.
Crushed. Right? And to this day, I know I was crushed because it was true.
Yeah, so I think that clip kind of speaks towards their relationship. I mean, Will Smith in that clip says he spent 3 years planning this one party, and the moment it was all released, Jada Pinkett Smith was like, I didn't like it. It was all about you and not about me, and it had everything to do with your ego. And I think that kind of speaks to how their relationship is sort of on the rocks right now. So Smith, who took exception to Rock's joke about his wife's shaved head, a result of alopecia, also announced his resignation from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, saying he had betrayed its trust. Now the star, who won this year's Best Actor award for his portrayal of Richard Williams, father of tennis stars Venus and Serena in King Richard, is unlikely to be invited to announce the Best Actress award next year, a task performed in recent years by the previous year's Best Actor. One Academy member said, quote, some of the members are saying Will jumped before he was pushed. The executives are still in utter disbelief of what happened. Smith won't be able to vote for the Oscars or attend special Academy events in the future, but he will still be eligible for future Oscar nominations. The Academy said it would continue to move forward with disciplinary proceedings. Will Smith's former director has a lesson for Hollywood stars still weighing in on the Oscars slap heard around the world. He says there are bigger things to worry about. Director Michael Bay, who worked with Will Smith on Bad Boys 1 and Bad Boys 2, said at the end of the day, the actor's onstage violence of Rock was wrong. Still, he insisted that it's not exactly the first thing on his mind when he thinks about issues going on in the world. So let's see what Michael Bay had to say.
Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
I don't know if you want to talk about this, but it's my job to ask. Having made 2 movies with Will Smith for Bad Boys, what was your response to that incident? Were you watching?
I wasn't. I saw it. Everyone was like texting me, did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? First of all, it's wrong to begin with, okay? But that's all people are talking about, and I don't really care. Hollywood gets very self-absorbed. You know, their baby's getting blown up in the Ukraine right now. We should be talking about that.
That's a great point.
So I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wasn't right.
I mean, I think people were so shocked because it felt so uncharacteristic.
I've worked with him. He is not that guy. I've never seen him lose his cool like that. I thought it was set up because I saw the smirk. I've been on set when Will screws with people, joking with people. Listen, it was a slap. It wasn't a punch. He's very good at fighting, all right?
Yeah.
He's trained at that. So
Boyd
slap
Ali.
is a sting, but it's wrong to begin with. But and then I knew the yell was right. He was mad.
So basically, Michael Bay is saying, like, we should all just move on. There's bigger things in the world. It's giving me very much like, there are people dying, Kim, if you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So I asked you guys, do you think people should move on? And 69% said yes, and 30% said no. So it's very interesting. Smith's own mother, Carolyn Smith, had a similar reaction one day after the 94th Academy Awards. She says she's never seen that confrontation side of her son. His mother, Will Smith, writes, quote, he is a very even people person. That's the first time I've ever seen him go off. She recalled to Philadelphia's 6ABC. Despite the on-camera scandal, Carolyn Smith concluded that she is proud of him being him. Will Will Smith is still the talk of the town at the Grammys, including for LeVar Burton, trotting out a comedian presenter who also had the moment as top of mind, literally. So I didn't get a chance to cover the Grammys on my channel, so I'm just going to quickly run through. This is what LeVar Burton had to say at the Grammys in the pre-award show.
Our next presenter is a comedian, if you know what I mean. So, I need to caution everybody, remain in your seats and keep your hands to yourself.
They said comedians have to wear these now at award shows during their joke marks.
So yeah, people are just kind of making fun of the moment. The wacky moment went down Sunday ahead of the official broadcast, where they were still presenting the off-air awards, such as Best Comedy Album. The person who won Best Comedy Album, by the way, was Louis C.K., who actually has 5 women going against him and have these pretty serious allegations against him for SA. I can't say the word on YouTube, but it's SA allegations, and he still managed to win a Grammy. And a lot of people found that pretty controversial, that were quick to cancel Will Smith, but people like Louis C.K. are still able to get awards. You know, we also bring up Roman Polanski on my channel, where Roman Polanski was accused of R-wording a 13-year-old girl. He, you know, won an Oscar in, I think, 2003 for The Pianist, and he actually got a standing ovation, and he wasn't able to actually receive that Oscar because of the fact that he was still in France, because he didn't want to be extradited to the United States of America. So he couldn't even receive the Oscar, because if he went back to America, he would have been arrested, which is pretty crazy to think about. You know, we're really quick to cancel Will Smith and put all his projects on hold. But, you know, there's people that are still actually being allowed to work. I mean, Ezra Miller comes to mind, who was literally caught on camera assaulting a fan. So it was at that point in the pre-ceremony that Burton was on stage and invoked the Chris Rock slap, not too subtly. Oscars co-host Amy Schumer spoke out against Will, saying the whole thing was so disturbing and that she's waiting for this sickening feeling to go away from what she witnessed. Amy Schumer is also taking a month off from comedy, and I don't think a lot of people are really upset about that. Amy also faced backlash for a joke she made about Oscar nominee Kirsten Dunst. During the skit, Amy called Kirsten a seat filler, a joke she later revealed both Kirsten and her husband, Jesse Plemons, were in on. So let's play this clip. Oh, I did want to play the little quick, like, Trevor Noah clip as well. This is from the Grammys.
It is going to be such a beautiful evening. Don't even think of it as an award show. This is a concert where we're giving out awards, all right? We're going to be listening to some music. We're going to be dancing. We're going to be singing. We're going to be keeping people's names out of our mouths. And we're going to be giving out awards all throughout the night. So, let's get straight into it.
Yeah, so that was him basically saying, we're going to keep names out of our mouth, referencing Will Smith. Anyway, the Grammys, I stayed up at night trying to watch it, and I fell asleep. It was kind of boring. This is the Amy Schumer clip that everybody's up in arms about.
All right. And so what the seat fillers do, I hear you, seat fillers. I'll just explain what you do. So when you get up to go to the bathroom, or if you're going to cry because you didn't win, oh my God. Actually, you know what? Let me just show you what the seat fillers do. Okay, here's a seat filler. Can we get you up, honey? You want to go to the bathroom? Okay. Let's just get you. Thank you, seat fillers. Love them. Jesse, I love you and Power of the Dog.
You know that was my wife, Amy?
You're married to that seat filler? Oh, that's weird. Anyway, we want to take a moment.
Yeah, so that was Kirsten Dunst. Amy remained vocal about her experience hosting the Oscars and even incorporated the slap into a recent stand-up routine. And I looked everywhere for this footage. It doesn't exist. So in the stand-up routine, Amy Schumer said, she writes, quote, "I was kind of feeling myself," Amy reportedly said during a show in Las Vegas, quote, "and then all of a sudden, Ali," referring to Will Smith, who starred in a 2001 biopic about legendary boxer Muhammad Ali, she goes on to say, was making his way up, and it was just a effing bummer. All I can say is it was really sad, and I think it says so much about toxic masculinity. It was really upsetting. So as her set continued, Amy went on to tell Oscars jokes she allegedly wasn't allowed to say on TV, including this one, quote, "Don't Look Up is the name of a movie. More like, don't look down the barrel of Alec Baldwin's shotgun. I wasn't allowed to say any of that at the Oscars, but you can just come up and slap someone." Amy remained vocal about her experience hosting the Oscars and even incorporated the slap into a recent stand-up routine. And, you know, people are kind of upset about the fact that she's making fun of people in the audience who are most likely on the Russ set, and they're probably really traumatized. And she's kind of making light of the situation by making fun of that, you know, moment that a lot of people are very traumatized about. So Amy Schumer is really quick to throw stones when she lives in a glass house herself. So I'm not too sure how I feel about this entire joke. As you know, Alec Baldwin got away with murder by accidentally shooting somebody on the set of a Russ. So let me just read your chats. Thank you so much for being here. Black Cat, right? Jada don't have no alopecia. She has a scar from a brow lift. So I've heard that rumor a few times on my live stream where people are saying that Jada actually had some sort of issue other than, you know, alopecia, and then it was actually from dyeing her hair. So very interesting that you're saying that. Just Ask Mike writes, I'm so traumatized. I don't know what I'm going to do. Just Ask Mike, if seeing Chris Rock get smacked traumatizes you, you got some problems. D Brown, an actor on the Muhammad Ali films, said he was awful to him. Thing is, Will had enough money, so he won't go hungry. So yeah, the actor who said that was Rodriguez. And apparently Will Smith made a pretty racist comment to Rodriguez. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing.
Comedian Paul Rodriguez says he's experienced Will Smith's rage up close, and it's horrible.
When he turned around, that smug, that look like that, I'd seen that look before. I feel like I got slapped every day with a verbal abuse.
Rodriguez worked with Will Smith on the 2001 movie Ali.
Look like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Will Smith packed on 35 pounds of muscle to play the boxing legend. His startling transformation earned him his first Oscar nomination.
Look how good I look.
Rodriguez says during filming, Smith became a real-life Jekyll and Hyde.
I'd be walking around and he'd hurl some insult. You know, I just kept it in. I went, what am I going to do?
Rodriguez was cast as Muhammad Ali's boxing ring physician, Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, a role he traveled all the way to Africa to perform for the Rumble in the Jungle scenes.
Rodriguez says the real-life doctor showed up on the set, and that's when things turned nasty. The doctor allegedly ranted that his character didn't have a big enough role. Rodriguez says the doctor hurled racial slurs at Will Smith. After that, Rodriguez claims Will Smith took out his anger on him.
Will Smith says, you better be careful. You're far away from anyone who likes you. Where does that come from? I mean, what do you mean I'm far away? He goes, ain't no Mexicans here in Africa. I said, what?
Rodriguez even kept a diary of the traumatic experience.
The insults just continue. That look, that after he hit that look of impunity. And I'm saying to myself, it went from one of the happiest moments of my life to a horrible situation.
Rodriguez's scripted role was cut, and he was basically reduced to that of an extra.
I had lines. I didn't audition to be an extra here. It was humiliating.
Yeah, so I guess we're kind of seeing a different side of Will Smith that really a lot of people just were ignoring before. And someone in the chat said, Jada was laughing after, and that's exactly it. Jada, I read this article on my live stream just right now, if you're joining me, where an insider told Us Weekly that Jada is saying that Will Smith overreacted. So Jada is kind of distancing herself from the slap, which is kind of interesting. Jada apparently said it was in the heat of the moment and it was him overreacting. He knows that, she knows that. They're in agreement that he overreacted. She goes on to say later on, she's not one of these women that needs protecting. He didn't need to do what he did. She didn't need protecting. She's not a wallflower. She's a strong woman, an opinionated woman, and she can fight her own battles, but she will stand by him. I don't know if she'll stand by him because it kind of sounds like she's a little bit, over saying that he overreacted, but in this clip, it seems like she actually is enjoying the moment, which is kind of two separate things. And I feel like in a lot of ways, maybe she's actually, distancing herself from this because it is actually hurting their career quite significantly. And something that Will Smith has said before, he's actually into conspiracies too, but this clip kind of rubbed me the wrong way about Will Smith. He says he slaps a reporter. And this is something that, I think we all just kind of swept under the rug about Will Smith, but let's get into that.
Oh my God. There you go. Come on, man. What the hell is your problem, buddy? All right. Hey, sorry. You said kiss me in my mouth. You joking? You lucky I ain't sucker punching. Oh, sorry. I said that on camera.
Yeah, so very interesting to see that side of Will Smith. And I think that's coming out a lot with Will Smith. Let me continue reading your chats. Jada not taking any blame whatsoever after giving him the look. Do you think Jada is responsible slap as well? Responsible. Ask my community. Because in this source, she kind of sounds like she's distancing herself from the slap and, kind of putting it on him, saying that he overreacted. But in some way, I feel like maybe there was a moment where Jada actually whispered to Will, and we didn't capture that on camera, but we see her actually laughing afterwards. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. 86% says yes. 14% says no. They're both wrong. All in Scientology raise their children in it. So I keep getting this information about Scientology, and let's do some live research. Will Smith, Scientology. Because this is something that keeps coming up on my live streams, and I would be interested to know. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's school was... Will and Jada Pinkett Smith have long denied allegations that they are members of the Church of Scientology. So there's a Scientology kids school. I had no idea. Thank you so much for the person in the chat that's saying this because, I'm learning so much from you guys. Why Will Smith, Jada are the worst. Scientology kids school, bizarre parenting, and a discarded lover. So just when you thought you heard the most annoying thing about Will Smith and Jada Smith's relational perfection, yeah, that's what they call it now, they go and outdo themselves. The definitely out there couple who have been married for 23 years and have 2 children together, son Jaden 23 and daughter Willow 20, have admitted that Pinkett Smith had an affair with R&B singer August Alsina during a break from their marriage. that she's attracted to women and that they share an unorthodox parenting style. Hollywood's most dubiously enduring duo has been less forthcoming about their now shuttered, allegedly secret Scientology school. Wow. In 2017, when former Scientologist Leah Remini claimed that Pinkett Smith was a longtime down low member, the couple denied any affiliations with the controversial religion. "We've never been Scientologists. We've never been swingers," Smith said at the time. Now, however, Smith has revealed that he and his wife are indeed in an open marriage. "We have given each other trust and freedom with the belief that everybody has to find their own way, and marriage for us can't be a prison," he told GQ. He even admitted that his wife's entanglement with Alsina made it seem like she was the adulterous one, but that was not. Smith delicately explained to me, in fact, the case, the GQ writer noted. Jada never believed in conventional marriage. Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship, so she grew up in a way that was very different than how I grew up, Smith said. And then Smith dropped what could be the most annoying celebrity slang since conscious uncoupling was made infamous by Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin. Quote, "There were significant endless discussions about what is relational perfection, what is the perfect way to interact as a couple, and for the large part of our relationship, monogamy was what we chose, not thinking of monogamy as the only relational perfection." He added that he's in the throes of F-it 50s phase, teasing his forthcoming 432-page mega memoir, Will, out November 9th. His co-author, Mark Manson, wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. Smith also revealed his self-indulgent, arguably sexist fantasy about having a harem of girlfriends, including Halle Berry and Misty Copeland, and his work with celebrity intimacy counselor Michaela Boehm, which allowed him to realize that my thoughts were not sins, and even acting on an impure thought didn't make me a piece of S-word. A Hollywood insider told the Post that the new open marriage revelations are surprising. It's not like we haven't heard the stories rumbling around, it's just that we never heard them confess or admit to anything. That's how the relationship has been for so long that you just get used to the way it functions. Also, it's a lot of pressure when people are watching you and you feel like you want to maintain this facade of having this power couple relationship. So yes, I think that they want to maintain that facade. Another source close to the family told the Post that the couple was the happiest they've ever been at Pinkett Smith's 50th birthday party on September 17th. "It was the best I've ever seen her, happiest I've ever seen her. All of her closest friends were there. It was old school." The couple's relationship has long been the subject of speculation. In 2009, Pinkett Smith said, "I've heard all things. Their marriage is not real. He's gay. She's gay. They swing. I'll tell you what, it's too hard to be in a pretend marriage." Recently, they became more open about sharing their unconventional views on Pinkett Smith's popular Red Table Talk series, which she hosts alongside her mom and daughter, Willow. So, very interesting about this Scientology. So this is something inside Will and Jada's Scientology school for kids. I'm just going to make sure your chats are loading. There was some healing that needed to happen. And so in October 2018, Hollywood superstar Will Smith joined his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, for a special 2-part episode of her Facebook Watch series, Red Table Talk. 1 year prior, the Daily Beast had published an interview with Leah Remini, this ex-Scientologist turned whistleblower who alleged that Pinkett Smith was a devoted practitioner of Scientology, a costly endeavor, reaching its highest operating thetan levels can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, that comprises tales of intergalactic overlords, dead alien souls, body thetans, and the curious theory that humans evolved from clans. Quote, I know Jada's in. She's been in Scientology a long time. I never saw Will Smith there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center. They opened up a Scientology school and have since closed it. But Jada, I had seen her at the Scientology Celebrity Center all the time. Ramini was referring to the Scientology Celebrity Center in Hollywood, California, where its handful of famous acolytes take courses along the bridge to total freedom. Very interesting. So I don't know if I believe it that they're in Scientology, but I hear that comes up a lot. And, you know, they denied them being in an open relationship many times, and then later they actually ended up being in an open relationship. So very interesting to consider that maybe they are in Scientology. Let me just continue reading the chats. Peggy Laswell, hello, how are you? Trice J, Will shouldn't have slapped Chris, but at the same time, Chris shouldn't have came out in his mouth about Jada's appearance. Move on already. Exactly. So I asked you guys, Michael Bay said this too. It's time to move on. There's bigger things in the world about Ukraine and everything like that. But hey, Immortal Breed writes, I seem to have lost your chat. Okay. Zapping, did someone already told you that you look like Eminem? LOL, for real without hair, but yeah, I get that sometimes. Olivia Mitchell, and if we did have other relationship with other women or etc., it was because of Jada and what she wants. He was aiming to please her and he lost himself in the midst of it all. Olivia Mitchell writes. Michelle Johnson writes, Jada had been bleaching her hair for years. That's why her hair fell out. I am a hairdresser. Exactly. And what's weird about Jada too is she's actually had a bald head or shaved head, whatever you want to call it, since the 90s. I mean, she was in a relationship with Tupac. Jada in a relationship with Tupac. And during that time, she also had a shaved head as well. So, you know, she looks amazing with a shaved head. And a lot of people just thought this was a conscious choice for her. So that's her with Tupac way back when. And something that's kind of weird about her relationship with Tupac is apparently she's very upset with the fact that she's no longer with Tupac. And her daughter Willow actually ended up writing a letter to Tupac. And it's making the rounds online. Let me just play the letter video. Thank you so much for being here.
Wife is in love with a dead man. Dear Tupac, I know you are alive someplace. I think my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so me and my mommy can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Tupac got killed in what, 95, 96? Willow never met Tupac. Why is this little girl writing a letter to Tupac? Why is Will Smith's daughter writing a letter to Tupac? What is being said in that house to get this little girl not writing Santa Claus, not writing the Easter Bunny, writing Tupac? You can become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, squeaky clean image. Women love you around the world, and this is what's going on in your house. Your wife is in love with a dead man. Dear Tupac, I know you are alive someplace. I think my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so me and my mommy can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Tupac got killed in what, 95, 96? Willow never met Tupac. Why is this little girl writing a letter to Tupac? Why is Will Smith's daughter writing a letter to Tupac? What is being said in that house to get this little girl not writing Santa Claus, not writing the Easter Bunny, writing Tupac? You can.
Yeah, so apparently Jada actually dated Tupac in the 90s, and then Will Smith was very upset and jealous over that, according to this BuzzFeed article. In his newly released memoir, Will has weighed in on how their friendship impacted him, admitting that he felt tortured by the bond that Jada and Tupac shared. So, quote, in the beginning of our relationship, my mind was tortured by their connection, Will writes. He was Pac and I was me. Though they were never intimate, their love for each other is legendary. So apparently, you know, according to this letter written to by Willow to Tupac, Jada is very upset over her unrequited love or something that happened between her and Tupac. And it has left her very upset. And then Will says in his memoir that he was actually jealous of Tupac and their relationship. Will writes that he felt jealous of Tupac's fearless passion and militant morality, which he would compare to his own inability to stand up to his father, with whom Will shared a turbulent relationship due to his father's pattern of violent behavior and alcohol use. So this is something that I learned about Will Smith, is his dad was an alcoholic who used to abuse his mother. And in those moments, Will Smith said that he wished he had stepped in, and he really considered himself a coward in those moments. And for that reason, maybe was the reason he actually went in to protect Jada from Chris Rock. And as a result, Will writes, he felt insecure and cowardly against the late rapper. What's more, Will compares Tupac to his younger brother, Harry, who would often stand up to their abusive father, noting that he felt inadequate in comparison to both. So Will Smith has a huge complex issue. And, you know, in our last article that we read with Jada and how they're in a Scientology school, you know, that's a rumor. But there's also a rumor that's been brought up that Will Smith is gay. And this is something that Will Smith was apparently in a gay relationship with Dwayne Martin. And Dwayne Martin is Tisha Campbell's ex-husband. And Tisha Campbell just got divorced from Dwayne Martin, I think a couple years ago. But there's been a lot of speculation that him and Dwayne are in this relationship together, especially after Will Smith played a gay character in 6 Degrees of Separation. So this article goes on to write, an eyewitness claims that the pair dined at a Trinidadian eatery on February 24th and that it was clear Will and Dwayne both arrived and left together. Another source swears that Jada hates that Will is taking him on exotic vacations while she's sitting home alone. She allegedly can't stand his relationship with Dwayne and feels that he flaunts it in her face. So, you know, maybe there's some sort of weird tension going on between Jada and Will right now. Maybe this open relationship includes, you know, same-sex relationships, because Jada has apparently same-sex relationships, so maybe she's okay with Will and Dwayne being together. Then we also have, you know, Tisha Campbell, who, by the way, has this great song that I was actually listening to last night. It's called I'm Still Here. It's a banger, and the video is actually hilarious. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it'll be funny if you guys do. But she got divorced from Dwayne, and Dwayne, maybe that's the reason why they got divorced, because Dwayne is actually in a gay relationship with Will Smith. Who knows? Over the past year, there has been countless speculation that Will and Jada's 14-year marriage run has its course. Now a source allegedly told Star Magazine that the union is in fact completely fractured, and that the more time Will spends with Dwayne, the more strain he puts on his marriage to Jada. So the questions remain, will the rumors continue to rage between Will and Dwayne? The unidentified source lens it's only a matter of time until one of them makes the split official and files for divorce. So it turns out after this article was written, Tisha Campbell actually gets a divorce from Dwayne Martin. And I wonder if the reasoning for that is because of this relationship with Will Smith. One can only speculate on my channel. But I did see somebody talk about how Jada actually loves her bald head. And that's pretty funny. So let me just get into that clip. Thank you so much for being here. I understand I turned on subscriber only mode, so I really appreciate everybody saying subscribing to my channel. It really helps out my channel a lot. So this is Jada talking about how she loves her bald head. And it's very interesting because why would she necessarily say that it bothers her? Let's get into it. Thank you so much.
I've had some definite hair regrets, for sure, specifically on covers where just, what the hell? Being a black woman and dealing with hair in Hollywood, especially in the era that I came up in, having your hair look as European as possible was always the thing. And that was really challenging, you know, because I liked my hair out wild and curly, but nobody wanted that. So I always had to do my hair in ways that didn't feel natural to me because I'm trying to play the game. So if I'm doing a cover, everybody, no, we want your hair straight and flowy. And it's like, all right, cool, but that's not really like what my hair likes to do. So I had to learn to get the courage to just go, nah, I'm not doing that. Which is why I feel the freedom today. I don't give two craps what people feel about this bald head of mine, because guess what? I love it.
Yeah, so definitely some differing opinions there about, you know, did Jada actually was offended by that alopecia joke? I mean, Bill Maher actually said it best in terms of how he says that 50% of women suffer from alopecia and 80% of men. So the fact that Jada is saying, I'm not offended by being bald, and then also just alopecia actually being very common, is kind of raising some eyebrows of if this is really necessary to slap somebody over. Let's listen to what Bill Maher had to say, because it was very interesting.
Can I ask about alopecia? Because I must admit, when I saw the thing on TV, then I go to the Vanity Fair party, great party, and then I didn't hear about it till then that she had, but you don't know she had alopecia. And I had heard this word, but it was vague in my mind what it was. So I went like, oh, well, that's a very different thing. And then I found out what it is, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not that different. I mean, if you are so lucky in life as to have that be your medical problem, just say thanks, God. It's not life-threatening. You know, it's part of, for most people, 80% of men, 50% of women, it's part of aging. Aging is, trust me, I know, it's the degradation of the flesh. It happens to all of us. And, you know, just put on a fucking wig like everybody else at the Oscars. Can I ask about...
Yeah, and also there's the fact that Jada Pinkett Smith was, you know, compared to Demi Moore, who is a ripped, beautiful woman who looks amazing as a bald woman. A lot of people were like, actually, that's kind of empowering. You know, going back to this relationship, Jaden Smith is apparently in a relationship with Tyler, the Creator. So Jaden Smith claims Tyler, the Creator, is his boyfriend. And I thought this was kind of interesting. And Tyler, the Creator, says this is not true, but I don't understand what's going on here. Jaden Smith shocked concertgoers at the 6th annual Camp Flog Gnaw Festival in Los Angeles when he claimed that Tyler, the Creator, the 26-year-old rapper behind the festival, was his longtime boyfriend. Smith, 20, has never previously made definitive public statements about his sexuality. I just want to say Tyler, the Creator, is the best friend in the world, and I love him so effing much, said Smith in a series of videos fans uploaded to social media. Sources have said that the impassioned announcement was just Smith trolling, but he seemed determined to convince fans in attendance that the two were an item. And I understand Tyler, the Creator, just won a Grammy for his album. So this is what Smith said. And I want to tell you guys something. Tyler doesn't want to say, but Tyler's my mother effing boyfriend. And he's been my mother effing boyfriend my whole life. Tyler, the Creator, is my effing boyfriend. It's true. Tyler, who rapped about kissing white boys and tweeted about his attempts to come out the damn closet, seemed to regard it as a joke. Videos captured of the seconds after Smith's declaration feature the rapper laughing and shaking his head back and forth to indicate no. Seemingly motivated by Tyler's reluctance to join in, Smith kept at it. Tyler, the creator, is my effing boyfriend, okay? If you take something away from this effing show, that's what you need to take away. The alleged trolling continued afterward on Twitter, where Smith has built a reputation for sending out provocative but vague messages to his 7.95 million followers. Quote, "Yup, Tyler the creator, I told everyone you can't deny it now," he taunted. Tyler replied, "Haha, you're a crazy N-word, man." On November 3rd, Smith tweeted, "My next album is going to make people express their crush and come out the closet to their parents, etc. Pure honesty, November 17th. Perhaps he's just a bit early." So I don't know. I don't know what is going on with his family. I also read this thing about Willow Smith, you know, having some anti-Muslim things in her chat, in her book. Let me just try to find it. So thank you so much for being here. I understand you have to subscribe to chat in my chat room, so I really appreciate everybody subscribing. Really helps out my channel a lot. So apparently, and Willow Smith used Hinduism as an aesthetic and called Muslims savages in some book she wrote, which is very Islamophobic. So I can't find the direct quotes, but apparently Willow Smith's new book depicts Amazigh Muslims as violent savages. Like, I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube because I understand sometimes I say things on here that are kind of controversial, and Islamophobia would definitely rank really high. So Rabat, Black Shield Maiden, the soon-to-be published novel of American singer Willow Smith, has sparked controversy online for using offensive and explicitly degrading representation, including the description of Amazigh and Muslims as, quote, violent savages. Many are calling for revisions to be made before the book's official release later this year in October. The book of fantasy fiction was especially condemned for adapting stereotypical and Orientalist tropes. An exclusive preview of the novel published online, quote, "The Amazigh are dangerous on their best day. They have little regard for anyone who doesn't worship the Muslim god, and even their own tribes are always at war with one another." Smith, the daughter of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, co-wrote the book with Jess Hendel. Many people have taken to social media to express their anger with how the two writers portrayed Amazigh and Muslims as feral, lawless savages and dangerous on their best day. Netizens were especially outraged as the damning, discriminatory, and offensive portrayal, blasting the published extract and accusing both writers of Islamophobia and racism. Willow did not respond publicly to the criticism. Hendel, however, deactivated the comment section under two of her Instagram posts in which she promotes the book. Hendel also stated on Instagram that the novel directly tackles prejudice, stereotyping, and ignorance about people from other cultures, including prejudices against the Amazigh and other Islamic peoples. But many were quick to accuse the author of ignorance for referring to Muslims as Islamic people. So I don't know too much about this, so I want to tread carefully, but I just want to make sure, like, this is my source. This is what the source is saying. A Twitter user writes, "This is why Americans need to mind their business. The intent was to write an empowering historical fiction centered around strong black female protagonists, but it's full of the same racist BS any white girl novelist shout." Another commenter added, "The Amazighs are some ancient mythical people. We're very much real and alive, and she's basically portraying us as this harmful stereotype of barbaric savages." So it kind of seems like there's a lot of issues going on with these, the family. I'm going to continue reading on these chats. Thank you so much for being here. Cindy Lou to you writes, if she wanted curly, she would have worn a curly. Stop letting others dictate how you wear your hair. I wear my hair the way I want, and everyone should do the same. Teresa Nelson writes, you know, as sick as it is, if you believe people come back in other forms, they can believe their children are ultimately people they have known in the past. Ms. Mola writes, how could that get published? Exactly. It is pretty crazy. He quit the Oscars so they could not say he was out of order. Exactly. So the thing about him quitting the Oscars very early on is there's issues with, you know, him quitting the Oscars because it's very much like, you can't fire me, I quit sort of scenario with that. And, you know, a lot of people are like, well, instead of you joining, instead of you getting fired, you just decided to quit before they could fire you so you don't join the ranks of Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, who are the same people who were fired. And they've done, in my opinion, much worse than, you know, what Will did. I know I'm kind of defending Will. I know it's against the law, but I feel like what Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein did, if I were to rank them, I would say it was a lot worse. And so I understand where this is coming from and how he wanted to avoid the optics of him actually getting fired from the Oscars. So I understand why he acted that way. Stephanie or Gandega, that's how I truly feel. She probably got a shrine in her house in one of these special rooms for Tupac. He gave up on the Oscars so he wouldn't be fired. Yep. Helen Taylor, I think he quit so it makes him look good. Exactly. So Willow shaved her head bald. Yeah, so that's the thing about this family. They definitely pull off the bald look really well. So I thought maybe it was intentional. My opinion, the Smith family has always been a bit eccentric to me. And, you know, I didn't realize they were that eccentric until I started doing this story. So, yeah. Black Cat, I don't know about that. He did frequent flyer miles to the Epstein Island. I don't know where people are getting the Will Smith went to Epstein Island from, because I've been hearing that rumor a lot. And I haven't seen too much about Will Smith going to Epstein Island, so it is kind of interesting. If you guys want to send me your tips, I'll put my email in the chat. You can always just send me tips there, because I do enjoy, I learn a lot from you guys. Some people with alopecia, and this doesn't look like that. This is driving me crazy. I don't see any bald spots, only stubble. I've actually seen people with alopecia, and it doesn't look like that. So that's interesting, because if I look at Jada Smith, you know, she's been pulling the bald look for quite some time. And yeah, you know, I don't really see too many bald spots like you're saying. And she said her hair was kind of falling out in clumps. I mean, there's things you can definitely do to hide those clumps. You could fill your hair in with makeup. So yeah, she's been doing it for quite some time. I mean, she's had the bald look since the 90s. So I'm not sure why all of a sudden it's an issue in the 2020s. You know, that's her very, very early on. So it is interesting. Close cropped, even hair, Miss Mola writes, some women like bald style as a fashion statement, Maria Omar writes. Exactly. So I thought this was a fashion statement. Most High will take away hair because of impurities and mutations is her roasted peach. Menegas writes, from the academy, he resigned because it was the right thing to do. Like quitting any other job and thanking the coworker for not filing changes. Willow Falcon Hoof writes, Willow shaved her head in empathy, not sympathy. They are only training Willow to be a millionaire empath. Exactly. So, yes, but actually no. After Willow shaved her head, she has stopped whipping her hair back and forth. Man, I love that song. Okami writes, speaking of Cosby, I saw this cool invention on Shark Tank that covers people's drinks so other people can't drug their drinks. It make me think a bill right away. Be careful out there. Yeah, be careful. Noodles, she thinks she was Tupac's girlfriend, which is just not true. So she just embarrassing his husband with this ridiculous struggle. And speaking of like embarrassing her husband, I thought this clip was pretty funny.
The day after her 37th birthday, I hired a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday. I hired a documentary team. I traced mommy's family roots. Her 40th birthday was going to be my thing.
It was going to be a splash.
It was going to be a splash. Mary J. Blige performed. I debuted the film, all of that. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis, and it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love. And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego.
Ooh.
Crushed. Right? And to this day, I know I was crushed because it was true.
Yeah, so it just sounds like Jada is kind of mean to Will Smith. And so, you know, a lot of people have pointed out that there's something else going on in the relationship, and it's more just than what we're seeing on the Oscars, because there's definitely some tension there. So you just kind of are left speculating like what's really going on there. Someone wrote, wow, that's so mentally unhealthy, Susie writes. Will Smith should have stuck with his first wife, Chris Salinger writes. I had no idea that she had a first wife. All right, guys. It's time to give Gabby a treat, I think. There you go, Gabby. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on my Joseph Morris live stream. I understand I turned on subscribers only mode, so thank you so much, guys, for subscribing to my channel and engaging in a discussion. I learned so much from you guys, and I really appreciate everybody tipping me off on Scientology and all these different things that I'm reading in my chat. It makes things really interesting for me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And until next time, guys, stay safe, make good decisions, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, Threads and Roses. Thank you, Maria Omar. Thank you, V. George, Helen Taylor, Dixie Ignals, Susie, Queen Nessie, Blue Daisies, Peggy Laswell, Okami, Purple Summer Moon Extract. Gabby likes cats. We have 2 cats. Luciana Cooker, Falcon Hoof, Tina Gribben, Hauser of Mercy, Amber, XOXOXO, Okami, Leslie Renee, Luisa Rodriguez, Daria Diamante, Norma Lopez, Sherry, Blue Daisies, Yes But Actually No, Luisa Rodriguez, Trish Cumming. Thank you so much, Teresa. Purple Summer Moon, Amber, V. George again, Maria Valdez. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I love you guys all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.